Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at UV laser engraving and how you can turn a profit quickly and pay off your equipment. We're talking about gross margins that are pretty high, guys. We're talking about things that are anywhere from 100%, 200, 300, and I even have some products that have 1,000% gross margin. That is significant. Let me give you a taste of what we're talking about. This little shot glass right here that you see right here goes anywhere from 43 to 73 cents if you were to buy the shot glass. And if you were to sell it engraved, personalized, for a wedding, for a special event, for a party, you're looking at something that would go from $8 to $15. And this can be made in under 3 minutes. Do I have your attention? Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you my experience with the ComMarker Omni 1, how you can create products to pay off that piece of equipment and also create a sustainable income. I'm going to give you all of my settings. So you're going to get in this video all of the settings on how I got this beautiful engrave. I'm going to share with you the products, some of the tips that I've seen, things that you could probably specialize. So again, you can create that financial freedom. So let's get right into it. Let's first talk about the Omni, and we'll go into the engraver as well as the settings I use to create this with several of the product opportunities that you can capitalize today. Now, the ComMarker Omni is a fantastic UV laser, which is very different than any kind of laser that we've looked on the channel. This laser is high resolution. We're talking about 16K high definition laser, and it uses a different type of laser technology. We have looked at MOPA lasers. We looked at fiber lasers. We look at diode lasers. We looked at lasers that do two type of material types because they have two type of lasers, combo lasers. But this is very unique. This is our first UV laser. And the UV laser operates in a total different wavelength per se. We're talking about a 355 nm. And it's 5 watts. And at first, when you hear 5 watts, you may say, wow, that doesn't seem powerful when I'm hearing lasers that are 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, or even 100 watts. This seems at 5 watts. Is it truly capable? And the answer is absolutely yes. You're going to see how quickly you can engrave products that other lasers struggle with. Matter of fact, the UV laser has the ability to engrave more products than any other laser on the market. It really opens up a full host of products that you're going to see in a couple seconds. Not only that, but it's a cold laser, so it's not generating heat. So if you've ever tried to, let's say, mark metal and it warps, you're not going to have that problem with the UV laser because it doesn't generate the same type of heat as other lasers do. This laser is air-cooled, so it doesn't require any kind of liquid cooling because of the rating. Now, I have seen lasers that are 10 watts and above. Those are very expensive, and then you also need water-cooled. So they're going to be a larger footprint, and they're not going to be something that you can accommodate easily in your home, in a garage, or in a shared space. So this is going to be very convenient because of the technology. Now, the engraving accuracy in this laser is spectacular. This is where we're going to get this high resolution 16K. Typically, lasers have a resolution of, let's say, for example, 0.01 millimeters. This laser, the dot, is so small that it's 0.0019. That's going to give you very crisp, photographic, high definition type engravings, which is going to step up, again, how you present yourself and when you sell your products. Your products are going to stand out with this laser for sure. The engraving speed is also super fast. We're talking about engraving speeds of 10,000 millimeters per second. And the product is very flexible. They actually provide you 2 lenses, a 70 millimeter lens and a 150 millimeter lens. And basically what that's going to do for you is just going to give you a larger or smaller engraving area. The larger the area, the less power you get because the laser has to cover a larger area. The smaller the area, the more powerful, intense the laser is going to be when it comes to, again, it doing its thing. So you'll have 2 that you can choose from. And then also you have frequencies with these. Frequencies from anywhere from 1 to 40 that is going to give you the ability to get different finishes. Unlike traditional lasers that maybe have a power setting, the actual UV lasers focus on speed, frequency, and also pulse. So that's a little bit different. I know that sounds complex, but I'm going to give you those settings in a couple seconds to make sure that you can engrave as soon as you get your hands on a laser like this. Now, this laser also has support for EasyCAD, which is a free laser software, or a very professional and highly recommended product like Lightburn. So you can use both. Now, the thing that sets this laser apart and what excites me about this product is the fact that it can engrave so many type of materials. Typically, when you talk about a diode laser, You could do wood, you could do some acrylics depending on the type of acrylic that it is. And then if you go into a CO2 laser, you can expand to, even clear acrylics and a lot more different material types, and you can do wood. You could also do some metals depending on, again, the type of laser head that you have. You'll hear a lot of these lasers will have a IR laser and then they have a diode laser. And the IR is how they get to do, let's say, metals, right? But in this case, the UV laser can do gold, silver, copper, aluminum. It could do fabric. It could do stainless steel. It could do glass. And glass is where it's at, right? Glass is like incredible, the type of quality you can get. You could do crystal. You could do also acrylic. You could do leather. You could even do wood. If you're looking at engraving or adding any kind of branding to your 3D printed parts, PLA, it does that. Plastic as well. It's going to do stone. It's going to do slate. And it will even do foods. It's a thing, guys. People actually engrave foods. And the cool thing about this is that because it's a cold laser, it doesn't leave a burn taste to the material, especially if we're talking about foods in this case. So a lot of stuff going on here. And then the service life of this is also pretty great, as well as it has a couple things that I really like. First of all, it has a focus, a motorized focus process, where as you're raising the laser head and lowering it, it's going to go up and down with the push of a button. It does have a backup crank, but you could do it electronically. It also has laser dots focus for you. And it also has this little transparency screen that helps you see the UV laser, because it's not going to be as visible as other lasers are when it comes to displaying where your graphic is going to be. So there is a lot that you could be really excited about when it comes to this specific product. And the other thing I want to highlight, just two other things, is that it does come with a foot switch so that you can batch things. It does have an optional rotary. We don't have it in this review. And then again, it does come with a free EasyCAD. I'm preferring to use Lightburn. So those are kind of like all the specs and some of the things that you'll want to know about this laser. If there's one thing that you can focus on, and there's just one thing, it's that it can virtually engrave anything. Right? We're talking about everything that you wanted to engrave. This thing can do it because of the type of laser that it's using. So let's take a closer look at some of the engravings that we did so you can get a sense of the quality. And then we're going to go and see it in action. And I'm going to share with you also, by the way, I'm going to share you some of those business opportunities that I want to talk to you about. Now, we're going to be taking a look at business opportunities before we actually go into the laser engraving components or what we were able to achieve with the Omni, to give you a sense of how you can invest in a product like this, and then also how you can turn a profit really quickly. So we're going to talk about real products that are, again, available now and that are in demand. Some of them are seasonal, some of them go beyond seasonal. For example, this right here. This is a glass ornament. Let me go ahead and put it a little bit closer so that you guys can see it. And this glass ornament that I created right here actually is an ornament that could be used in two various, I would say, or two different types of situations. This is commemorating the death of my father when he passed, and it's something that we're going to have on our tree. But ornaments could be used for weddings. Ornaments could be used for the birth of a child. It could be used for graduations. It could be used to commemorate a anniversary of any type. There's a lot of different ways where you can use these crystal ones, because when you look at this, it doesn't really speak Christmas immediately. It's just something that you're using to commemorate a specific event. And we'll take a look at how we made this really close up in a second. But to give you a sense for the flat glass ornaments, this ornament costs about $3.50 to acquire. You can find these being sold on Etsy and other forums for an average of $20. Think about that markup, from $3.50 to $20. Now, I've been doing my research, looking at some of the shops that are on Etsy, and what I found is, on average, I found some shops that are doing well and some that are doing extremely well. One that's in the middle of the path sold 80 of these in a calendar month, right? 80. That was $1,600 that they did, and this just takes seconds to make. Now, the cost of the ornaments that they sold, the cost of 80 was $2 or $280. That's the cost of the ornaments, $280. Now, they profited, right? And this is going to be not including all the costs, but we're talking about the cost of goods versus the cost sold, $1,320. That's how much they basically walked away with. Now, keep in mind, I'm not counting the hours or the minutes, the time that you put into it. I'm not counting in the shipping and the packaging. We're just talking about this product and then getting it out the door, right? So $1,320 is what this person was able to walk away with. That is a 471% gross margin. I want you to think about that. Where else can something like that happen? Now, another thing that could take place, and here's a good option, are these shot glasses, right? Shot glasses. The average cost of these shot glasses, I've been able to source them on Amazon, anywhere from 43 to 73 cents, right? They're selling on Etsy anywhere from $10 to $15. Some people are having a discount on them. Well, they'll bring it down to $8, but we'll just stick with the $15. $15. 100 of these, I found many shops, and the average sales in those shops are well in excess of 50. Most of them are in the hundreds. 100 in a month netted $1,500. That was the gross revenue for that month for only one product, $1,500. What is the cost to make the $1,500? Well, it was $73. $73 in shot glasses to make $1,500. So after paying off the shot glasses, they basically had $1,427, which is crazy because now you're looking at a 1,900% gross margin. Again, when I look at my gross margin, I'm not including the cost of power. I'm not including the cost of the machine or the wear, the depreciation. I'm not costing in what you'd be paying yourself. There's other costs that are involved, but just this simple math is going to give you a sense of how big this opportunity is. Now, let's talk about something else that's really popular, and that is metal wallets. I see metal wallets sold all the time. The cost of a metal wallet, like the one that you see here, goes for $3 a wallet. I've sourced them as cheap as $2, depending on the volume. The average price that you sell these, $25, right? I found shops that are selling over 100 a month. That means that this shop, just one shop that sold over 100 of one product only of these wallets, basically had $2,500. After paying for the cost of the material, right, the wallets themselves, they basically had a cost of $300, which gave them, again, $2,200, right, after paying for the cost of materials, which gave them a gross margin of 733%. This is the opportunity that I'm talking about and how you can quickly pay off an investment like the Commarker Omni or any other laser that we've referred to on our channel. So a lot of opportunities when it comes to it. So now that you see the business model and you see the opportunities, let's look at the quality, because the quality is going to help you get the business, maintain the business, and also retain new business and get repeat buyers. Let's check it out. Now, as I mentioned, UV lasers can engrave a lot of different products. And what I want to share with you is some of the products I engraved, they have different margins. They weren't the ones that I highlighted as having the extreme margins, but they also have great margins. First of all, you could do wood. So this I did on the Omni. And again, you can see the actual settings here. Basically, this took about 5 minutes to make. Could be a lot faster if I tweak some things, but you can see here how nice and clean this engrave is, how crisp all these settings are. Specifically for the holidays, this is going to be a hot product. A lot of people are buying stuff, especially during Christmas. But again, you can do this for Thanksgiving. You can do this for all the other holidays. You could do this for special events. Really nice and great view here. The next one that I'll share with you, and we'll put this over to the side, is this guy right here. This is a credit card type bottle opener, and take a look at how nice this looks. Now, you'll notice, and the things that I'll highlight about this is that it is black, deep black. You want marking like this that's black. I've seen some engraves where the engraves are brown, which is just burning it, and they're not getting anything that's nice and crisp like this with the actual, I would say, detail that you have here. You can see how nice and crispy that looks. Let me go ahead and put this in the front camera so you can see that. Take a look at that, right? Look at the quality there. So this is what we're talking about here. And again, this is going to be something that if you were to check and see, these are great for bachelor parties, baptisms, all these different type of situations. If you have any kind of party where there's something to drink, people want something to be able to open their drinks, and then you could go ahead and make something like this. This was done on the Omni as well. Slates are also big business, and you can see here, you can see this coaster, and this basically all I did is I sprayed the coaster, and then I engraved this in Lightburn. And again, I really like the overall quality that we're getting here. It's pretty sharp, it's crisp, and you can see once again, it's really expanding your mind. It's really about thinking about things differently. Now, leather is something else that you can do. And here is a leather patch. This took seconds to make. And you can see where it says, I actually branded it ComMarker Omni 1. And this one revealed silver marking underneath it, right? So it wasn't about just burning straight through, but it was about removing the top layer very precisely and then giving me this look. So you can see what that quality looks like. I think it's great. Another piece is bottle openers, right? Bottle openers are a big deal. These are pennies, and they sell really well for a variety of events. Now, we created a complete jig system that makes creating these in batch really easily. So what you see down here is one of the jigs. And when we go to the laser, you're going to see a lot of other jigs that I use that just make things go really quick. I've been laser engraving a lot, and I just realized, even as I'm recording, I still have my laser engraving glasses wrapped around my neck. So that's just to tell you how involved I've been with this. So here you can see a lot of the, again, the quality that we're getting from these. This just takes seconds to make. And when you have a fixture or a jig, you're able to just leave this in place, swap out the material, and then just do the match. I have jigs that are going to do 39, 90 at a time, depending on the size of your laser, or smaller ones like this that will give you the ability to do 5 at a time. So again, a great opportunity there as well. Now, what excites me the most about the laser is the resolution, and also this one in this case is kind of like a seasonal one, but you can see here, this is an acrylic ornament. So this is cast acrylic, and what I did with this picture is I brought it into Lightburn after cleaning up the image, bringing it through Image R, and all it takes is a couple buttons or presses of a button in order to get this, and then engraving it with the, again, ComMarker Omni. You can see how nice this picture looks. And again, this is a great ornament, great keepsake. This could be someone's grandmother who passed away and someone wanted something to remember them. Could be on an ornament, could be somewhere in the house. Again, these are really, really great sellers for us. And you can see what that looks like right there, right? So this was done on it as well. And this was done in cast acrylic. Now, glass is where it's at, right? And I just want to show you what we did here. So this, and I'll see if I can make it stand out a little bit because of the background. This is actually cut into the glass and basically just took seconds to make. Engraving a memorial ornament like this or a wedding ornament. It could be you're in your first home, for an example, and you're basically celebrating your first Christmas in your home. You could do that as well. A lot of different ways that you can celebrate and you can have an ornament. These ornaments are from JDS and just took seconds to make, to engrave after the placement, and you can see how great this looks. This is, again, a really personal touch. The last one that I'll show you before we go and take a closer look at the laser is this shot glass. This is a shot glass that we did, and basically, think about any kind of party, any kind of event. And the great thing about this is that when people order these for weddings, for baptisms, you name it, that event, you have a home party. A lot of people like to personalize things. And this here is a coquito shot glass that I made for an upcoming event. And you can see how clean this is. The actual quality here is pretty spectacular. Unfortunately, I don't have anything dark that I can, maybe I'll try putting this. This has a double side on it. Yeah, that's not going to do a good job here. But having something that's a dark on the back will actually showcase the actual quality. Let's see if this shows up a little bit more here. Yeah, there you go. Take a look at that. That is the engraving. And the incredible part of this is that with UV lasers, there's no coating, there's no spray. This is literally you just put this glass piece under the laser, focus it, have the right settings, and that's all it takes. And like I said, these are the settings that you need in order to get this engraving done. This took 3 minutes to engrave. So if you think about the fact that this costs anywhere from 43 to 73 cents, and you're able to sell it, let's say $8 if you want to go on the cheap side, $15 if you want to go on the high side. Think about that. 3 minutes to make, again, anywhere from $8 to $15. it's real, man. It's real. There's a lot of opportunities. So let's go ahead and check out the laser. We'll take a closer look, and then you can see why I'm so excited about this machine. And keep in mind that the footprint isn't large. This is relatively small, right? You need good ventilation. That's important, but there's things that you can do about that. And it's also always really important that you wear safety glasses. These are the safety glasses that came with it. I wear them, and you can make things like this. Let's check it out. Now, one of the things I really like about the Omni is the engraving area and just the overall setup. This is a single unit. There are other type of lasers on the market that have a split unit where the actual box that you see right here almost looks like the size of a PC, and it could be in another location, but this is basically part of the laser. What you see here on the side, which allows you to raise and lower the laser head, is also part of the laser, and then you have the laser right here all together. Now, there are a couple things that I've been creating as I've been working with the Omni, and I'm going to share with you what those are so that you can see some of the extras and how it helps with our workflow. But a couple things that we'll highlight first of all. This is the laser head, and the laser head, and you'll see this when we start making it run, has two LEDs, laser beams that come out that help you with focus. In addition to that, you do have power focus here, where you can raise and lower the laser by just pressing this button, and it's going to go up and down. They do provide you with a ruler that I'll show you in a second that actually helps you understand what your focal height should be to make sure that you can engrave. Typically, if there's a problem with you engraving, it's normally going to be your focal height, meaning that the laser head isn't low enough or high enough to be focused correctly to cause the engrave to take place. So that's just one power tip there. You also have this button right here, which is going to be your power button, and then basically what you have here is an emergency stop button that you can press. Now, you'll notice that there's another button over there, another light that's lit. That is the light for the UV. And typically my process when I'm using the laser or when I'm done with the laser is I turn that off and then I turn this one off. When I'm going to turn it on, I push this button for it to turn on, and then I push that one to turn on. If your laser, for example, if you don't see any laser engraving happening, or you don't see a dot like this, like a blue dot coming up, that is because your UV laser hasn't been enabled. So that's just one power tip that I just want to share. It's something that I even experienced as I was using this unit. I had forgotten to press that button, and I didn't know why the laser wasn't firing, and it's because the laser wasn't on. Only the control unit was. So that's one thing to highlight. Now, ventilation is going to be really important, and you notice that I do have a vent connected to it, and I have a vent going out. And I'm also going to be looking at enclosures where this could be fully enclosed so that it's not open. But if you are in a situation where it's open, then you'll want to make sure that you have something that's going to suck any kind of the fumes or any of the debris that's cutting outside of your home. That's really, really important. So also what you'll notice is here on the actual column here, what you have is different guides of measurement indicating heights. Now, this is important, but it's not really used too much because your focus is going to be different for every product. So this is just going to give you a little bit more precision if you want to take down some notes and say, hey, you know what, for this specific material, it should be at this height. And then you could see that, hey, this is where I'm at based on the actual laser height. And then, document that as that's something that you'd like to do. I typically use a ruler, or in this case, a focal chain. So this is a product that we created for the use with the Omni. And this little chain basically comes down, touches the product, and then it lets me know that I'm in focus, right? So that's how I'm figuring out the focus. Or I could actually use the actual dots themselves. When I'm working with glass, it's a little bit harder because it's very reflective, so I prefer using the focal chain. And the cool thing about this product is that I can detach it. It comes off with the magnet just like this, and then when I want to put it back, it just connects with the magnet just like that. So take it away when I'm not using it, put it in place to measure my focal height. It's simple as that. We'll have, again, a link to this in the description area of those of you that are interested in procuring one of those. Now, something else that you'll notice here, and I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way, is that the actual engraving area does have all these screws. It comes with some screws that you can use to position your product and lock it down. And it does come with an angle bracket that I have over here. And this is going to be great also for positioning, but I choose to have my own jigs because it makes it a lot easier for me. So you're going to have this. It's going to allow you to put the screws in here and align things, but it's not as fast as if I were batching large jobs. So for example, This is one of our smaller jig plates, and the small jig plate, what it allows me to do is, if I'm, let's say for example, going to be engraving 50 or 100 of these shot glasses, I just want to be able to put it in place like this and go on to the next one. So I'm done with this one, I want to put it to the next one and to the next one. And you notice how easy that is. That's all it takes. And if I want to switch from engraving shot glasses to, let's say for example, engraving, let's say these bottle openers, this is all it takes. Now I'm starting to engrave these. Right? So that's why I love this jig system that we have, and it also has for ornaments. If you're going to be doing slates, pencils, cards, pens, whatever it is, we have a jig for it. I have about 240 jigs that we use in our business, and we make them all available for others to be able to use it as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at, again, the actual laser in action. I'm going to start and engrave so you can see how it works. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention is that the laser does come with a really nice ruler, and this ruler is used to measure your focal height. On the very side of the laser, let me focus up a second so I can just show you. You're going to find a sticker. There's going to be a sticker that is on your laser. We'll put it in this angle right here. Now, you'll see this at the very top of the screen. So you see this little line right here? This is your focus line, right? And on the side, there's a yellow sticker that says that this should be at a specific focal height. So what you would do is you would take this ruler, make sure that you're starting with 1 on the bottom. You'd put it on top of the product that you want to engrave. So if I'm doing the shot glass, I'd put it on top of the shot glass. And what I'd want to do is make sure that that line that you have at the very top right there, let's try to get that in focus so you can see it, aligns with the marking. So what I did is, based on the number that they told me my focal length was, when I was first doing this, I had a mark there so I could make sure that I aligned it with that specific little line that we have right here. But now I don't use it that much because I have my focal chain that makes it really easy to get those products. All I do is I bring it over like I showed you, and then I move it out of the way when I'm done. So I just wanted to highlight that that's something that you have, and you'll find on the side of your laser, you'll find a little sticker. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right there. So there's your little sticker that tells you what your focal height is, and then this is the actual line that you'll use with your ruler to make sure that it's this height. Now, unlike other lasers, when you're working with UV lasers, the UV laser, the actual preview is a little bit different. The preview is really hard to see. It's actually, in many cases, depending on the material, it's not visible at all. So what they provided you is with this little shield. So this shield, when you put it on top of the product that you're going to engrave, will make it visible. Some people will take a piece of paper and put it right on top of it to see it. The problem I have with using paper is that paper, I don't see what's underneath it, and it doesn't help me when it comes to alignment. And if I'm going to do 100 shot glasses, I want them to be perfectly aligned. I want, when they put them next to each other, they're going to say, wow, these are all the same height. They're all in the same position. So I like using things of precision. Now, you notice as soon as I bring this in, see how that dot came up? I'm going to take it away. You can see it's very light. It's faint. The dot is now back. I'm going to go ahead and go into and show you a trick that I do. When I'm doing alignment, I drew in Lightburn I actually drew a line. Now the line is very faint, but I'm going to bring it in so that you can see it. And now I'm placing it right on top of my shot glass. This is telling me where I'm at, right? So I'm going to make sure that this is straight. It is. It's pushed against the jig completely. And now I can see where that center line is on my shot glass. Now I have another alignment technique that I use, and this is this little square. And you'll see that I'll combine them both. Now, I want to make sure that this is my engravable area on the shot glass, right? Not really visible, but then it becomes visible. By the way, I do have my glasses on in the background, just in case you're wondering. So, because this is actually using the UV light to see it. So I just put it on top of it to see if the engraving area is the right area, and it disappears. Now, what I can do too is I can have both the vertical line, and I could put a crosshair going from left to right if I chose to. But now what I'm going to do is I have both there. And now what I see is the vertical line and I see the square. So I can see, hey, does this look like it has the right alignment for me? So this is the process that I go through in order to align before I actually do any kind of engraving to get something that is super duper precise. For me, it's important to have precision because it really speaks to the professionalism of the product that you're going to be turning in, right? So being able to have a product that looks like it was done, again, you know, in a larger organization is important for my business, and I'm sure it's going to be important for many people when it comes to their business as well. So that's basically how I'm looking at my alignment, and I use those techniques. I may have a crosshair coming this way if that's something I have to do based on the materials themselves. But for me, the key is
Not just that alignment, but having a jig like this, a fixture, makes it every single one has the same angle, has the same, again, I would say pitch. So this shot glass is also level because of that jig as well. Now, one other framing method that I can try is actually seeing where is the product going to engrave. So this is the shot glass that we made for an order that is for Coquito. And you can see that I can see where it's engraving. I want to make sure that it's engraving in the engravable area, that it's not too close to the corners, because if it does, then what ends up happening, I'll have some distortion. The actual image won't engrave fully. So I just went ahead and made that setting, made sure that that setting still aligns with the product that I have on my bed. Now, engraving is pretty simple. I am right now in Lightburn. All I'm going to be doing is hitting start to engrave. Now that I can see my frame. I have my glasses on. I have my vent here sucking out any air or as this is engraving, because I don't want that to be caught in my lungs or anywhere else. But once again, I would highlight that you probably should be using an enclosure when it comes to engraving any kind of material if you possibly can. And let's go ahead and make sure, yeah, everything looks like it's good. We're going to go ahead and start, and we're going to watch the engrave process go. So I'm going to hit start now. And what you'll notice is that the actual engraving doesn't make it all the way down to the bottom. So you can already see the actual word showing up as it's going through. This is a fast process. Again, if you were using another type of laser, what would happen is you'd have to spray paint this with a dark material so that it could capture the laser, or you'd have to put something inside of it to capture it as well. What we're doing is we're engraving straight on the glass with no prep whatsoever. And you can see how everything is starting to show up right here. Now, keep in mind, I am wearing my glasses. Really, really important. UV light damages eyes. So you want to make sure that you're wearing them. And you can see how quickly this has made it. Almost over a little bit over half of the actual glass has been engraved, and it will be clean. The nice thing also about UV laser engraving is that there is no shards of glass. It's not fracturing the glass to do the engraving. It's actually literally engraving it. So you don't have to worry about sharp edges. You don't have to worry about any of those things. All the way at the top now, and now it's going to go ahead and put in the actual phrase that I have at the top, which is in Spanish. And that's it. That is how you would engrave a shot glass using a UV laser. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a closer look before I remove it. You don't want to remove things immediately, because sometimes if something didn't come out right, you may want to give it a second pass. I'm just going to inspect it, and then we'll see if we're going to remove it. So we're going to go ahead and lift it. And now what you could see here is the engrave. You can see how nice that engrave took up. Nice and white. Everything is nice and crispy. All right, so I don't have anything dark that I can put behind it to kind of cover it up, but you can see how nice and crisp this engraving took place. My settings are in the beginning of the video, but I'll also see if I can make it pop up here as well. So you can see how nice that took. Really, really nice. Now, while the Omni does a really good job on glass, I just wanted to highlight something else. Like if you do want to be able to engrave stuff like this Stanley, we do also have a jig system that allows you to have products of various sizes, including something this big with, again, precision alignment. You don't have to worry about it being straight as it holds the handle and all that stuff. So you can do stuff like this. All you have to do is take out the tray, put it in this tray, lock it down, and you'd be set to go. Now, before we wrap up the video, I just wanted to highlight one other product that we did. You saw this was another sample that I did on this machine. This is a photorealistic ornament cut with cast acrylic. This is just black acrylic. And again, the quality of the Omni really shines here as you see the type of image that I'm getting here. This was a test piece. It's actually a bad piece that I had cut out on another machine. And I just wanted to see what the quality would look like. And I'm really, really satisfied with this. I'm going to be tweaking this a little bit to get a little bit more detail because of that 16K resolution that you can get out of this, because I want to really kick it up and see how more photorealistic I can get. But this is the type of quality that you can generate. So if you would ask me, hey, is this a product that you should consider? I'd say absolutely yes. It's all about the type of business that you're in. And you saw there's a lot of opportunities here. It's a big investment, but you can pay this off relatively quickly if you're active and you are also hunting for those opportunities so that you can sell more products and use this to generate a profit and pay itself off.
So guys, that wraps up our review. I'll see you in the next video.